something says it's the seer of that. Yes, yes. But when you see from the before, that's what you see. So what you and I look from, you see. Yeah. Because we've had a sense, so you hear it, and then there's a knowing of it. When he says something like being ourselves reality, it triggers something, and that's from before, yeah. And then it explains all because after, when the after is looking for the before, it can go on for weekend ever, yeah. Because it's almost as if we're at a dinner, it's all served, and you smell it, but you're facing the wrong way. You're looking for the meal to come out of the kitchen door while it's already set on the table. Yeah. No, it's true, I feel. Yeah. So this is beautiful. That's why we were talking today about when people try to use non-duality like a skillful means. Yeah. They're trying to get out of the self as a self. And it never fucking works. It's incredible. It never budges when you're attempting to use it for something. Yeah. And when that attempting to use it for something gets exhausted, then it opens. Yeah, yeah. And that's the beauty of it, because you're not going to find it. You're not going to find it. It's impossible. Because you are it. You're not going to find it. You can look and look and look. Yeah, of course it can be sense, because you're the living presence of it in this event of time and space. Yeah? Being ourselves reality. I'll go over this because it's everything lately is just boiled down to that. Like this is our Zen Slap scripture wherever it is. This is it. This is it right here. Not even filled much. A lot of very small pages with no room for notes. Just. Yeah. The head makes up that there's a floor, and you just keep pulling it out. Yes, you just keep pulling the floor out, because it's not a floor. It's an imaginative rug. It has no foundation whatsoever. Yeah, so it's so easy to collapse. Yeah. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to do what I usually do lately, which is just to read these two things from, Ramana Maharshi. Yeah. He never wrote anything. He wrote one thing in his own dialect, Indian dialect, but mostly what was written about his teachings were from other people that were listening to him. Yeah, and so there was a broad amount of different people, but they captured similar principles. So the basic principles of what he's saying is in all of them. Yeah, he may say it differently, but it's there. And usually, his emphasis would be the greatest mystery, the problem. Yeah, and those are the things it's important to listen to. Yeah, so when he says this, yes, here, there is no, come on in. Yes, come on in. We just missed the handshake. Sorry. Come on in. We'll start again. Okay. Sorry to interrupt. No problem. Yes. We're bringing in the bus. Did every one of you get the check I sent you? I hired a crowd. Just take the embarrassment. Yeah, if you need any more chairs, let us know. Nice to see everybody. Nice to see everyone. Yes. Yes. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Oh yeah, no problem.
East Coast, don't forget about us.
No, I don't forget about it. I will after I leave this. But, have everyone been introduced as Zen Slap, or get a sense of it, or just?
No.
No? Oh, all right, great. Okay, let me present it to you. Yeah. So obviously you know the overall topic of non-duality. Yes. Yeah. All right. So basically, the definition to me in English is not two. Yes, not two. So what does that mean? Well, if you look at our present tense event, we are really seen as a singularity, but it's a double thing going on. So sometimes you're that which is thought about, which would mean you're seen as an object, and that sometimes you're the one who's thinking about it and you're seen as a subject. Yes, this is really, you don't have to go any farther in the world of duality just to go to this dualism. And what they're saying is not two. Yeah. So you're not either the subject. See, what happens a lot, people, they're living however they're doing, and then they become self-aware, and they get an idea of an object called self or that, yeah, and then maybe they want to improve that object and stuff like that. And once looking at the improvement and critiquing it, they believe is their real authentic self. That's not true in this view. So the subject, first of all, if you don't know what's going on, and then there's self-reflection, and you realize the object is selfish, fucking in a lot of fear, and likes to take advantage of people. And that which is saying it's the observing of that isn't. That is of the same cloth as what you're observed, what you observe, yes? So the objectness of the idea of you and then the subjectiveness of the idea of you are both negated. Yes, so it's not two. And actually, we're in a great time because it could have been not 50. Yes, and it would have been a lot of work. It's simply not two. You watch something that's happening, there's conscious contact that triggers an event, and then you see there's a claiming of that conscious contact. So let's say seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. The mental state claims that and puts a seer before the seeing, a hearer before the hearing, a feeler before the feeling. Yes? So suddenly the experience of this verbing of living here, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, is now being done by a noun. Yes? Yeah? And this noun, let's say call it the seer. The noun, is the seer essential to the seeing? No. Is the seeing essential to the seer? Yes. Yes? The seer is a conclusion of the claiming of the seeing. So the mental state claims the seeing, and its conclusion is there's got to be a seer. And you can watch it. If you're not the one that did it, you'll see someone else did it, and if it's not someone else, it's God that did it. People do not sit comfortably with a verb. They always want to throw a noun in there. That's it. And the weird thing is, it wouldn't be so bad if it was verb noun, but the noun is presupposed before the verb. So now you have a sense of doership that is not earned. Yeah? Yeah. So basically you're living life, but you're actually living based on an interpretation of life. So the mental state takes time, it starts in time. And the beautiful news is there's an aspect of us that's before time. Yeah. And so what happened with me when this stuff started to hit, I realized if I don't see this, you're going to be looking for it. So if you don't see the manufacturing of the action figure of the doer, you're going to be looking at everything from there. Yeah. And that to me is the bondage of self. So if you see that everything's claiming, so people can get that, but then they believe they're doing the claiming. So they take a mechanical activity of the brain as a personal choice they're making. This is also the bondage of self. Yes? So the claiming of what's going on and presenting it as a noun verb event is not done by you. It's mechanical. You're actually observing it or noticing it. You're not the producer of it. Yeah. But what happens is why we don't want to see a lot of this stuff is because we think it's us that was doing it. Yeah. But it isn't. I've watched it. It's not you. Yeah. So there's a mechanical claiming. And in time, I feel it's the quickest movement in time. Almost as if it's a gunslinger and it will beat every other gunslinger. If you watch people who are practicing mindfulness and they're, let's say, at a retreat and they've been there for 10 days and one night the people put out ice cream, watch their mindfulness as soon as they see the ice cream. Yes. They look at it, they start figuring, should I get it first? Da, 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 da. It's out the window in a second. Because they're trying to be mindful, but the thing is something's already in. Yeah, they're looking outside the house, it's already in the house. When you believe it's you're a manufactured point in time. There's an incredible amount of an event before you wake up as Paul. Yeah. So you're waking up, who's trying to make you a product as the product, literally. Yeah. So, and I believe I've observed it, watched it, that nothing's gonna beat that. You can't get before it through another process. And this is what happens. This process, everything that happens, it claims the verb and it inserts the idea of a noun. And you become, and then when you seem to do something, yeah, and there's the claiming of it, you feel like a historical doer. Yeah. If you just felt like you were the doer of this moment right now, it would be no problem. But this moment right now being claimed produces a sense of being a historical doer. And what's representing that is a body. Yeah. How do you remember yourself when you were in Hawaii 3 years ago as a body? What are you worrying about yourself in the future? Body. Yes? As the Course in Miracles, you ever hear the Course? They say an incredible statement. They say the brain interprets to the body of which it is a part. This you should know. So the brain, mechanically going off, is interpreting everything that it gets through the conscious contact to the body. Yeah. So we start at the identification as a body. We're not seeing the identification as a body other than from a body. I had it once. I was reading, it was obvious that the body was the obstacle, and I was reading the Course in Miracles, and there was a lesson there where they would say, I am not a body, I am free, and I'm just as God created me. And then it was obvious, the only thing that would chant it's not a body is a body. Yeah. Everything that's not a body knows it's not a body. Everything that's not a body does not have to chant it's not a body. It's the body trying to get out of the body as a body. This is the dilemma. How many times do you need to see it? Maybe only once. But it's going to keep repeating. Yeah? And once you see it, it expands from that present moment, and it's a principle. You recognize something. You recognize that that which comes after says it's before. And in time, there's nothing that can get before that. So this infection of this event, this interpretation of this event from a noun point of view, triggers a lot of dis-ease, irritability, restlessness, malaise, you feel something wrong. And of course, in time, you seek to find a process that could give you relief as you, but you are a process to begin with. And unfortunately, the process that is before affects the process that are come after, and the after processes do not affect the prior process, yes? So the idea of you is gonna be injected into every process you do. So Ramana says it beautifully. He says, there is a non-existent thing, which would be a body, yes? Everyone, body? Yeah, there's a non-existent thing that's taken to be an existent thing, yeah? And now that existent thing wants to find salvation for itself. And he says, if this is the case, and he says it is the case, your spiritual practices themselves are reinforcing the non-existent thing as an existent thing. How can they destroy it? Yeah, simple. Where do we start from? Do we see the non-existent thing? No, we're looking from the existent thing. So, some time has passed and a whole lot of shenanigans occurred. And then we wake up a couple of seconds later and we always look forward instead of falling backward, yes? And if you don't see this activity, you're gonna look from it. That's just the way it is. And it's gonna keep looking from itself, but hopefully you'll see that which is looking from it is not you. This is what's been missing a lot. The first video we ever did years ago, I gotta keep the scriptures, the Zen bitch slap scriptures. The first video we ever did was from an old parable from India called the sheep and the lion. Very famous one, where there's a mother lion and a mother cub, and the mother gets killed, and now the cub is orphaned, and it doesn't really know what he is or what he's doing, and he runs into a herd of sheep, and the sheep know it's a lion, so they're a little scary, but they realize it doesn't know it's a lion, and he gets adopted into the herd, and he starts trying to live like a lion, like a sheep, First of all, they curl his hairs, and he's listening to everyone who's going to be the next sweater, and he's trying to figure out when he looks at a sheep, it's really wants to eat it, but he's thinking he wants to marry it, and it goes on and on, unbeknownst to him, and he tries to be the best sheep as he can be. Yeah, and then one day an old lion comes into the savannah and sees the herd of sheep, wants to eat one, starts chasing them, sees this young lion running, and he thinks it's joining the hunt, but he realizes it's running with the sheep. So he veers off, tackles the young lion, and the young lion looks right at the old lion, goes, "Oh, Mr. Lion, please don't eat me, I'm just a humble sheep." So the old lion's a little perplexed, doesn't say anything, just grabs the young lion, brings him to the water hole, puts both their heads over, and the young lion sees both their reflections and gets on the line. The parable ends there, but it doesn't work. Because what happens when the old lion leaves and you're not near that pond and you move away, the sheep programming kicks in and tells you had an incredible lion experience. And now you have another desire that's just going to be used as a reflection of the sheep, and you're going to want to become like a lion, all the while being a lion. Yeah. This is the presentation of non-duality in a very simple manner to question the basic thesis of spiritual seeking, really. Because if you are what you're looking for, what should change dramatically is the looking for it. If you hear you are what you're looking for, you're going to see the effect in the looking for it. And everyone would say, I stopped looking for it. It doesn't matter. You're not that which keeps looking for it. This is the negation. Yeah, the negation doesn't change anything. It just negates that which wants to change something. Yeah, it's beautiful. It works, and the whole thing. You don't need the whole house of cards to fall. You just got to see one of the little tiles as a card, and you'll know the whole house is cards. Yes, you need to see the emperor with no clothes. And when you do, you'll see that the emperor has no clothes when it's wearing a lot of clothes. So this is a negation of there's a seeing of something, and then there's the seer of something, and negates the seer of something. And then when that's negated, the thing still does the same thing. It claims being the one who negated that, and then you negate that. And I don't believe it takes that long for it to drop. So like we said, it's not two. So you watch, you're not that, and then you watch something saying it's so, what you're not, and you negate that, and there you go. Not two. That's the basis of it. Sort of like letting water run over you. It's going to don't direct it, it finds its own course, and you'll probably become convinced, and it will allow you to travel lighter through this event. Yeah. What more do you want, literally? You'll travel lighter. Yeah. Yeah. So, the infection of the first process goes through all the other processes that are meant to change the first process. They don't. Yes? Because every other process brings a sense of self. Yeah. The only place is before, not after. And I humbly believe we start at the before. We don't start in the after. Yeah. The knowing is different than knowledge. There's a knowing. There's a knowing in all of us. It's like if you ask, what is it you know that you don't want to know? The head's going to get very uncomfortable.
This knowing is quiet. This knowing is quiet. The knowing is quiet.
Quiet, oh yes. That's the thing. See, when you have this sense of pause, P-A-U-S-E, that which is completely agitated cannot pause, and you'll see what you're not. Yes, that's how you see it. If you're seeing something that's moving while moving, you're not really seeing it. When you see something that's moving from stillness, there's a lot of knowledge. Yes. And then you get to the point, I'm not that. And that's that, literally. Yeah. I haven't looked for anything in a long time. Yeah. And the whole idea, remember they used to have all those books about how to get into the moment? That was predicated on an insane idea that you could be out of the moment. Literally, what motivated you to get into the moment is there was a belief that you could be out of the moment. Yeah, none of us have been out of any moment ever. Without us, there's not a moment. Yeah. So this, yeah, you want to go? Yeah.
Yeah, except that I get stuck in that moment and it continues on. And now I find myself in a story. And I don't remember that there is only.
Well, that's a story also. So.
Well, that's my story. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
so you negate the first one and just negate that one also. Yeah. You can, it's a good example. So you've seen you're not that in the first one, but the second one is implied to be you seeing you're not that. Both of them are you're not that.
Is that like the thief and the policeman?
No, this is just you need to, you fall back a little more, that's all. Remember too, this is like a cha-cha, not a cha-cha-cha. So a cha-cha, so you said you put out that story, yeah, and it was being told by an observing of it, but that had turned into the observer already. So the story that you can't see this all the time is another story. I can't see this all the time. And the thing is, it's not going on ad infinitum. It loses steam. Yeah, it doesn't lose steam with not one, but it does lose steam with not two. That was the message. Like, where you ever read the thing Faith Mind from Zen? Beautiful little thing. You can look it up by a guy named Richard Clark, translates it. It's a very famous little couple of pages thing. And at the end, he just yells not to. Yeah, but it's where you find the statement, you can't use activity to produce stillness. That would be activity. Yeah, you see it. You cannot use activity to produce stillness. That would be activity.
but you can be still inactive.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but the thing that wants to use activity to produce stillness can only produce more activity. You're not that. That's the beauty of it, yes? This is not about that getting better, it's about losing interest in it. Yeah. You'll lose interest in the mechanism because it loves you to try to get out of it. It loves you to try to get better. It will sign up for lifetimes of searching, but won't look at the moment now. Yeah. Yeah. So that, yes, a good example. You had a story of one part and the other one had crystallized into the story. That had the story. Yeah, it only took a little swipe and there it went.
For you.
No, for you. I could see it before you said it. Yes. Yeah. Just let it have that collapse. You're going to enjoy it.
Oh, I see exactly what you're saying.
Yes.
Because when I do that, there is infinite.
Yes. Yes. You see something and then that becomes a flaw and then you cut the legs out of that and you fall through that flaw and there you go. It's not 2, it's not 80. It's easy.
Why would I forget that?
Well, you didn't. Something did. Something did. Its agenda to forget that. The last thing it wants to do is remember that. It would be the extinction of its importance. Yeah. What kills the head in a way is irrelevance. Yeah. We have given it so much meaning as if it could block us off from the sunlight and the spirit, or will have to convince us to attain reality. It's bogus. You lose interest in it and it kills it really a lot. Yeah. This is all about loss of interest. This isn't about getting interested in a subtle, slick way. It's a loss of interest in it all. You catch the first movement and the second movement. You lose interest in both. Yeah. And then the dance becomes a spontaneous thing. Yeah. It's not formatted. Yeah. A lot of Yeah. I know people who are incredible. They do so much. They've done these things called dark retreats and tons of shit for years and years and years and years. But they've only been working on the objectified self. They don't realize that which is demanding work on the objectified. They believe that's them, but it ain't. It's neither. They're not that subject nor that object. Yeah. And they're demonstrating. It's like a guy I knew when I moved to Australia. He was quite well off. And he had a lot of different people living on his property. And we were renting like a duplex. And every day he'd come around on like this golf cart at 5:15, telling every one of us to be quiet because he was gonna meditate at 5:30. Didn't see the insanity of that. He was losing the peace of the moment with an expectation of peace at 5:31.
But as an example, you would never be able to tell them that.
Well, no. And I wouldn't try. That's the good news. I wouldn't try. The greatest, I feel, let's say if someone's involved in spiritual seeking, yes, and they get a point where they're never going to get it, it's super frustrating for them. They're super bummed out, and usually the answer will, I have to do more. Someone that's heard this message, when they hit the I'm never going to get it, it's hallelujah. Because never going to get it is based on you already are, you see? I had this thing happen. I was in Australia at this therapeutic retreat with the Rajneesh people, whatever his name was.
Osho?
You know, Osho.
Osho.
Yeah, and the whole place was Osho. And Osho people were good with therapy. They were, and this group was pretty good. And it was an 8-day thing. And in the morning, there would be 3 circles of people sharing. And then people walking around, checking what was going on. And they had all these people around the room that wouldn't say anything, like holding the space. Then in the afternoon, that would be over, and they take everything out and they put mattresses on the floor and bring in a DJ, and they just start playing music and would induce cathartic events. They're quite good at it. People started crying and laughing. It went go bananas and, you know, woo, 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 trances, everything. And then this one day, it was about the 6th day in, the 7th day, I was there like crying and just kept saying, I can never get back. I can never get back, with the feelings that I split from the Godhead or did something super terrible, and I can never get back. There's no way, and on and on and on and on. And they thought I was the greatest. They brought me out the first person of the 8 days, and I was like, oh, I was like a star, because the suffering and the eternal longing for Godhead emergence, whatever. And then a couple of days later, I realized the only reason why I can't get back is I never left. That's non-duality.
But they didn't say that.
No, they didn't say it.
Just got
And I was looking like I was going to do well with a couple of women. As soon as I said that, I was out. As soon as I said I could never get back, it was bye-bye. But all of the longing and everything never got close to that view. Never. For some reason, like, if you grew up Catholic, you were already handcuffed with a mortal sin that you didn't remember you did. It was called the original sin, and you had to walk around. I don't remember doing the original sin. And it was like, wow, just before you even started, they weighed you down. You know what I mean? You got guilt before you do shit. So in this head, all going through this, I never even came across the idea that I had never left. Never, until I heard non-duality. And to me, that's been the solution to everything. Yeah? The reason why nothing has worked is because it doesn't need to work. Yeah? I cannot arrive at where I already am. Can't. I'd have to make up a story to make it look like I've arrived. Yes? Yes. So in a way, this is sort of like you're trying to get out of what you're not in, and you're trying to get into what you're not out of. That's what the head is doing. It's stuck in its own thumb torture, And it's just, and this is the beauty of it. You recognize it as program, not AI. It's not going to grow out of it. The action figure is programmed. Yes? Yeah. As the Course in Miracles says, the brain interprets to the body of which it is a part. Yes? So your information that you're getting is it's a confirmation bias. It already has an idea, and it's just finding the evidence to support that idea. Other shit that doesn't support that idea pretty much blacks you out from. Yes? And you further you're going and going. And it's like, you want to experience your own absence, but you want to be there. Yeah? You want to have it like it's an amusement park ride. All right, I'm going to experience this. People call me a lot. They said, I disappeared. I said, well, who's telling me that? You know what I mean? Yeah. Who's telling me they disappeared? Sure sounds like the person. Yeah, yes. So this is different. It's just a loss of interest. And you don't trigger the loss of interest. You're what gets triggered. Yes. This isn't, you're not on a ride. This is the ride. This is the ride. It wants to get off rides and on rides. This is the ride. You never get off, so to speak. Beautifully wise because you've never been on. Yes, yes, yes. So that's how it worked with me. And there's no way something that has so much interest in itself could imagine it would be based on loss of interest. But it's been loss of interest in that, which has allowed a certain freedom as seemingly that. Yeah, yeah. Having noticed it when you were young or something, I had trouble with my stomach and for years, and I tried tons of stuff. Yeah. And I was getting disappointed, and then this time I heard about in not billions but trillions of beneficial flora from this yogurt from Canada. They had it at Whole Foods. And you get it like 6 or 8 little milk bottles, and I buy it religiously, and it's super expensive. Goes through like 40-something bucks, everything. And of course I wanted it to work, so I said, is it working? Trying to convince myself, and I decided I'm gonna send my shit to this place. And in the New Age world, it was the biggest thing, and down in, it was in Tennessee or something. And they sent me a paper, and they said, what do you wanna look for? Of course, everyone puts parasites, even though they're living at almost as a parasites. And then they asked me a couple other questions, and I took 3 shits, 1, 2, 3 days, put it in a bed box and sent it to them. Yeah. And I'm like waiting for the result, and they get it. 0 sign of parasites. I go, fucking great. Yeah. And then they go like this, and it goes down. It goes signs of intestinal flora. Now I had migrated billions, trillions of intestinal flora to a very small country. Yes. There was 0.000 sign of intestinal flora. I've been feeding 2 years. Where are they? And then the next paragraph explained it. Mr. Hedderman, you have 2 forms of bacteria that love beneficial flora. So basically I was catering the fucking the bacteria. I was feeding them gourmet meals. They ate. I said, and this happens a lot. Your self-interest is probably one of the worst things. Because it has been mutated, for sure. It may produce the exact opposite thing that you would think it would produce. Yes. I could turn my life over to anyone here. Not everyone here. There's a few. But I could do it with most of you here, and you would do a better job with it than I do. Why is that? That seems interesting. You would think your self-interest would promote you, but it doesn't promote you. And truly, the grace of this is loss of interest. Yeah. And you cannot lose interest in you. That's interest in you. But you can lose interest in you. Yeah. The you is not going to lose interest in you, but what you are can lose interest in it. And it sets off a migration. And then you realize, knowing it or not, that interest and attention had been used to enslave you to these old ideas. And now it's being used to enrich the day. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, Yes,
Back to the, back here now, to the, you can't be out of the moment, but the mind can be distracted, it's a matter
Yes.
of attention.
but you're not your mind. Yeah, I would put the attention on the mind
You're
moving.
saying, look at this, it's being used up to look at this, but if someone wasn't saying that, I might be looking at what's the sound, the sights and sounds in the moment, in a different place, attention.
Well, that
But
would
it's
just
all-
be a
it's all-
different
It's
experience.
all in a half.
Yeah, but see, the interest and attention moving is in a huge space of interest and attention. You just see when it gets focused and you believe you get drawn where it goes, but in fact, it doesn't go anywhere.
It's all in a timeless now.
Just like if you go into if you're on a head and it feels like a train, how long does it take you when you stop thinking to go back to the station? You never left, right? You're going crazy for 20 minutes, it stops completely suddenly because you never went anywhere. So all this idea, it implies the claiming of the interest and attention going to a target implies something that's not true. How can you move as everywhere? Where do you go? If the fact that the statement of Ramana Maharshi, where is it? Where's my scripture? You ever hear Nisargadatta Maharshi? He just believed what he heard. He believed the teacher that he was with, what he heard. He didn't have much practice or anything. He just had faith in the guy and what he said, and there it was. Yes? Yeah, so here, I'll go back on it again. There is no greater mystery than this, that being the reality ourselves. It's all present tense, being the reality ourselves. What moment are you being the reality of ourselves? Every moment. Yeah? What moments do we think we're being ourselves reality? Very few. But it doesn't change the fact that every moment we're being ourselves reality. See, you can, I believe humbly, the state is awakeness. Yet here, you can believe that you're not awake and you can believe you're awake, but it doesn't change the fact that all there is awakeness. Yes? You can believe you're not awake, doesn't change the fact, and you can believe you're awake, it doesn't change the fact. Yeah? When the interest and attention is moved and there's interest and attention that goes with it, you don't go anywhere what you want. This is what happens. You have faith in that statement. Has the head ever given you an aha? It just fucking repeats the same old, same old. And what happens when you hear satsang sometimes? There's an aha before its head can start, yeah? And then you know something before you try to know it, yes. You're getting free samples of really where we start, which is not the after in time, but the before of no time. Yeah, this is the presentation. Yeah, so let me follow this. It's pretty cool what he says. There is no greater mystery than this, that being the reality ourselves, we seek to gain reality. That's basically the situation. That's what non-duality presents. The greatest mystery, and this dude is held in a very high regard with a knower of many, many mysteries. He's saying the greatest mystery is being ourselves reality. We're trying to attain reality. Yeah. And then this is the logic why. He says, we think, obviously. I don't believe we do thinking as thinking. Yeah, when you say we think, it sounds like we're doing it. I like to see you think. And then, all right, stop thinking. You can't do that either. No, because you didn't start and you don't stop. You're the constant noticing of what arises. And a lot of thoughts arise. Yeah? When the hell did it ever become your thoughts? To gain reality, we think that there is something binding our reality and that it must be destroyed. As in spirituality, this represents that. This is the representation that we believe there's something binding our reality and something has to happen for that reality to be available to us. That's the big requirement that gives a lot of time and space to the head, a huge amount, yeah. So it says here, reality, and that it must be destroyed before the reality is gained. Yeah. If you follow this way of in the seeking, you're going to come to the conclusion you're the obstacle. Yes, and the way it is here, it says you are going to have to be destroyed to attain reality. You're going to slow roll your attainment of reality, I'm sure, right? It's going to create a certain cognitive dissonance because your little mental logic where it goes, which is if I'm blocking the thing, and that which is blocked the thing has to be rid of for that thing to happen. Let's take our time. We love when the program goes, it may take lifetimes. Oh, I'm signing up for that because it's never going to happen. So here it goes, that it must be destroyed. You followed that logic. Yes. It does it the same way in a lot of different things. It says something and then it goes to, well, that's what's going to happen. It's a bogus way of looking. Yeah. So it goes here that it must be destroyed before that reality is gained. It is ridiculous. A day will dawn when we will dawn. Sounded very New Yorker there. I've been trying to lose this accent, and just one day at the bagel store, fucked it all up. Go back for another few years. Dawn. Before the reality is gained, it is ridiculous. A day will dawn when we ourselves laugh at our own efforts. Yeah, that which is on the day of laughter is also now.
But it doesn't stick.
Who says that? Yes, and you're not that I. No. See, usually when it ends at it doesn't stick, then all the helping and all the procedures go on. When you say it doesn't stick, obviously what you're looking for it to stick. And then there'll be things and everything that will promise it will stick or do this or that. If you just question it and meet it with I'm not that, it stops that whole fucking journey.
The recognition that I had been, that you just read, I had this recognition and tears and joy and then it's understanding, only to get caught up in something shortly after.
Well, I'm just saying that story
Is a story.
Yeah, because you didn't get caught up. There was a getting caught up, but it's still not you. Whatever knowledge you have of you is going to be negated. So you just had one statement, and then there was the knowledge of you that you lost it or whatever. That's not you. Yeah. It tried to buy you. It sold you the first meal. You now can say no to that, but you bought the second beer. Yes? So what was reacted to, you don't buy anymore, but the reaction to it you bought. Yes.
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 Yeah. The reaction at all, at any time.
Yes. And so now
that's the taste.
just fall back a little more and just check it out. Yeah. Yeah. Greet it first when you see it, it's not you, and then when that thing says it's you, it's not you. Yeah, and then it sort of collapses. That's why it's truly the information was not 2, not 50, yeah, or 33, or let's say really tricky 32 and a half. It's not 2. So you watch the one interpretation and the reaction to that, and not only you say I'm not that which is being interpreted, you're not that which is interpreted. Yes, there you go. And then it loses its oomph. Its oomph is only, it's a cha-cha. It's not a long waltz, yeah? It usually has you by the first one. That's why he went on, in this famous thing in Zen, he goes on all this thing, you don't have to find the truth, just stop cherishing your opinions and all like this stuff, yeah? And then he basically says what to do. Just throw up your arms and yell not to, exclaim not to. So he saw the objectness of it and the subjective. no, this of it, and that was that. It didn't go, and there was only 2 pages of the whole fucking thing, because it's not 2. If it was not 50, each one would have a requirement. Yes? It's not 2, but, no. Yeah, so here, I'm gonna follow it up with this one, which is my favorite. It is false to speak of realization. Now, what is there to realize? If you ever read Ramana, it's trippy. He says, that which you're trying to realize is always realized, and you are that which is always realized. Wow. So what's the point of realization? Exactly. What? It is false to speak of realization. What is there to realize? Question mark. The real is as it is always. That's a pretty comprehensive statement. Always includes everything, right? In time, always would be always. Yeah. All right. The real is as it is always. How to realize it? This is what everyone wants. Yes. How to realize it? He's going to tell you how to realize it. All that is required. Okay, gird your loins. It's going to be all right. It's like you're going to go to war for 20 years. Fucking going to ask for everything. You're going to have to sacrifice everything you like, even watching Yankee baseball games, whatever. Yeah, but he says it's such a beautiful relief. All that is required is this: we have realized the unreal. That's non-duality. Yeah, instead of trying to realize the real from the unreal, we see the unreal trying to realize the real from the real. Yeah, we give it 2 whacks, and that's that. Get on with your day. Yeah, not 2. You caught the subject objectness, and where we are the dualism of duality. Duality is a projection of how we're seeing something. There's no thing called duality. We're seeing from dualism, therefore we see everything dualistically. Yes? Because we have a singularity as a body, but our activity is 2. Constantly subject object. Yeah? And that gets fooled by having a singular body. Yeah. Yeah. So I had this event. I had an Uncle Fred when I was growing up. He'd come up a lot. I'd see him at relatives' parties and stuff like that. And when I was 11, he passed away. Yeah. And my mother took me to the wake. And my mother asked me, do you want to say goodbye to Uncle Fred? I wasn't that excited about it, but she brought me up to the coffin. I looked in and I realized that, Uncle Fred. Yeah. The non-existent thing was there, but the existence seemed to have left the house, yes? And what are you left with here is the body, aren't you? When someone leaves, something's left behind, isn't it? You gotta put it in ground, burn it, fucking give it to medicine, chop it up if it's an illegal murder or something. Yeah, the body becomes the big problem. Jim's gone already, but I got the body. You don't see it? So I saw this body and I realized that's not Uncle Fred. But it took me a while when I got older to realize why I saw Uncle Fred as a body. I was seeing from being a body. Yes? Yes. And it was captured by that statement of the non-existent thing that is a body is seen as the existent thing. And now that existent thing wants to get salvation for itself. And because of that, it triggers, and you look at it, the spiritual arena, the spiritual practices themselves that you believe are going to win the day are reinforcing the problem. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What your experience, the experience that you had before and that you have now of say seeing, I am seeing and now there's just seeing, or I am listening and now there's just listening. Is it like it's a different experience?
It's not an experience, so it's more like if you were having experiences on a basis, this would be the basis. So it would affect all your experiences, but it's not an experience. Yeah. So what it allowed me to do over time was travel lighter through the experiences life has in store for me. Yeah. It wasn't like getting out of jail free card. It's just I travel lighter with shit. Yeah, because I don't take it so seriously. And I can tell you, look at the word my, yeah, it captures a lot. So let's say you have something that comes after the word my, like money, okay? And people know what the meaning of money is. So if I look at all of you and I say, I want you to have, all of you have a lot of money, but I don't want you to have any of my money, yeah? So this feeling of my doesn't change the letter of the word or anything, but changes the fucking meaning of the word, yes? And so therefore, doing, when seen as a doer, becomes your doing, yeah? And when it's your doing, it owns you, yeah? And so same things, let's say you have a thought that fucked up your day to day, yeah? And you tell me about it, but it didn't fuck up my day, because I saw it as your thought. But then the next day, I see the same thought as my thought has the ability to fuck my day. Yes, you see that movement? Yeah.
So the solution to dissolve that?
It's not a solution to dissolve it, it's just to see it. It'll do what it will do, yeah. We don't, this to me, humbly, I'm just sharing what's happened with me. That's how it felt. It's a disarming message that stays disarming. It doesn't demand, it stays disarming. What wants to do something or rise up and everything is seen as not you. And so therefore, after a while, it affects it. It doesn't do it as much. Yeah. So in other words, if you're hearing something, it's different than listening to it. So when someone believes the thoughts are theirs, they're listening to the thoughts. They're taking guidance from the thoughts. You're still going to hear the thoughts, but you're not listening to them anymore. Yeah. Hearing, you're not going to stop. If a thought appears, you're going to hear it, or however it delivers itself. You are. But when it's delivered in a pre-package of yours, there's something else happening. Yes. Yeah. So a lot of the changes came from seeing problems not as mine, but not trying to say there are no problems. But I just don't see them as mine. Yes? So I like the statement of Buddha, supposedly, events happen, deeds are done, but there's no individual doer thereof. Yeah? So it's not saying there's no deeds and no actions or events, it's just saying there's no one doing them. Yeah? Yeah, I find that a light way.
You say that your head is still constantly, or it's just gotten quieter, it's gotten
Way
less.
quieter, but also which I couldn't imagine, it turned CNN to Comedy Central, which is really fucking good. I would have thought that it would just turn down the volume, but it actually made it like the Colbert Show,
So
or the
it's
Daily
still-
Show, which is, I think, really, because it's a wealth of comedy,
So it's
really.
still active, but you can, it's very clear to you that it's
I
not
see its
you.
first movement and then I joke about it. Yeah, and then some people who know me know that I'm joking all the time. Other people, they don't, and that's really cool. But it's the same shit that used to have so much meaning comes out, but now it's held as comedy. Not bad. I would never have thought it would be transformed into something, because most of us believe there has to be no thought, everything must stop. I don't believe that at all. I believe most of the shit that we call us is mechanical. Yeah, if you're here and the action figure is there, it just does what it does. You're not choosing to do it. Yes? This is the dilemma when people have a really big free sample and then a day later they act the same way they thought, they used to act. They thought that part of them was them and it should have changed when they had this huge experience, but it was never them and it may not change. And you just lose interest in it. Seriously, it's just lose interest. Losing interest is the main movement. Yeah. And it's the losing of interest is just a further disarmament. And then when you're still, you'll see what you're not. Yeah, because what you're not does not get being ourselves reality. And if you use this as the common denominator from Raman Maharshi, then anything that's trying to attain reality is not you. Yes? Because being ourselves reality, it's a done deal. What's constantly acting as if it isn't is not you. And therefore it doesn't need to be changed or redirected, you just lose interest in it. And then that which you took as a possibility becomes a basis. Yes, travel lighter through New York. We already lost $115 in traffic tickets in one day here. So you're gonna have to put money in the donation. And I swear, if I stay another day or two, there's gonna be more money. I mean, it's unbelievable. You have to have a fucking glossary of all the terminology when it comes to parking. Yeah, and I knew when I was we were sitting with an old friend of mine, I knew they were giving us a ticket outside, but he was so into his story, I just kept sitting there, and then we went out $150. I can't imagine if we traveled for a few days here, it would be like $1,200. It's insane. So, yeah, traveling later, you know.
So any effort to get to this place that you're talking about, any outside effort is reinforcing the problem?
No, it doesn't mean it's reinforcing, but if you don't see it, it can be used to be reinforcing the problem. Yes, that's the point of this topic, these talks, is to become aware of something maybe you weren't aware of. Because if you're not aware of it, it's doing it. Yeah, it's doing it no matter what. Yeah, but when you see it, it won't produce the effects it was producing when you weren't seeing it. Yeah, so this is all about warnings. You're just warning about what's going to happen when you have, it's like there was a movie I really liked, Moon, yes? And in Moon, the guy, they found a new mineral on the moon, and it's fueling all the technology of the Earth. So you have these giant farms on the moon harvesting this mineral, sending it back to Earth. And they only need one person to run the farms. There's a number of them, but only one person. And this one person they're showing, he has a 5-year contract. He only has 5 more days. He's from Boston, which maybe not like it too much. Boston Red Sox fan, has a wife and 2 kids, yeah? And he's only got 5 days left, so he's doing a great job. Can't wait to get home. And there's no one there, and then suddenly he sees that one of the barns where they're putting the thing is, there's something in a spacesuit. So he drives the little thing there and he gets it and brings it back to the main place, and he takes the helmet off, and it's him. Looks just like him. He's going, what? And he's just like flabbergasted. And then the guy is a little bit farther ahead in the curve, wakes up and goes, hey, bro, I got something to tell you. Yeah. You only have 5 days left for the job. Yes. No. You have a wife in Earth. Where is it? Mine was in Albuquerque. Boston, no, you don't. And the guy goes, and you would think he's going to get it. He says, hey, you're a clone, basically. Yeah. But the thing is, the first guy hears the message, you're a clone, from the human program. Isn't that incredible? This is what happens here. The first thing that grabs what's happening is not us, in a way. Yeah. So here he is confronted with he's a clone, but he will not accept it through the human programming. Yeah. And so the guy goes, okay, listen, let's go downstairs. And they go in, and there's thousands of them, the same person. And it still doesn't get through because it's not getting to the clone, it's getting caught by the human program. Yes. So what's the point? Are you going to keep talking about being a clone, or are you going to talk that you're not the human program? I would say you would talk you're not the human program, because it's more important than the fact that it's a clone. It's more important to talk to you about what you're not, because you already are what you are. But the dilemma is there's an idea of what you're not being you. So let's talk about that. So in this thing, the indescribable can't be described, but what you're not can be described. The incomprehensible cannot be comprehended, but you can comprehend this, because it's not incomprehensible. It's not that. It's something that you can know. You can, because you're not it. You cannot know what you are because you're it. You'd have to be something else. So you can know this because you're not it. And what happens if it's not you? You lose interest in it. And that's what's fueling the flavor of it so real, and it feels like this and that. The production value isn't how it's produced by the head. It's the audience, us. Do you remember, I was a kid, there was a show called The Avengers with Emma Peel and this guy. I loved that show, yes. And they'd be driving cars in the English thing. And when I totally dug it. Then I got older and I saw it. It sucked. I mean, the car, it was obvious they weren't in a car, and they weren't and you could look at the walls and there was, you could see the light coming from the outside. It was just a cardboard thing. It blew the whole imagery out of my head, yes? Well, this is sort of like what it's like. We like the Avengers until you see the production. You recognize it, yeah? And then, of course, see, if I was, maybe there's a meeting next door, and I saw the woman that's leading the meeting, and I think, hey, I'd like to meet that lady, maybe go horizontal, whatever. You know, there's a keen interest. So I'm here supposed to be doing this talk, but I'm trying to listen to what she's saying. Because I'm hoping she says something that, hey, I like that guy in the other room, Paul. Yeah. So listen, and people are noticing I don't seem to be here, present. And so they tell me, I go, yeah, but I'm still more important, that's more important. And then someone comes with a book and says, how to lose interest in a conversation in another room, puts it down. I read it, I understand it, doesn't mean shit though. I can't access it, can't do it. And then suddenly the lady goes, you know, I really like that guy, Matt, and my name is Paul. I lose interest in it. I don't have to, you know, send a Navy 6 SEAL team in to get it. I lose interest in it because it's not me. This is the whole point of non-duality. You'll lose interest in what is now noticed because it's not you. Just like you have a huge amount of interest in what you're noticing because it's presented as you. Yeah. So you're just switching the greeting. When you usually see shit, you say me. Now you're going not me. And see which one works better. The me is going to go on forever because it's nothing, and it has to reinforce the imagined you, because you don't have anything to stand on. Just constantly. When you hit the truth, there's not much more to do. A few times you recognize it, and then it solidifies. It's not you. You were greeting everything that it was you, about you, concerning you, and now you just have another greeting, I'm not that. Yeah. And see what happens, and maybe you'll travel lighter. Yeah. Jerry and I, bad legs, very bad legs. We go to my friend's house, I haven't seen him in a long time. He takes us on this roof, and it was like a fucking obstacle course on some TV show. Had to go under wires, climb up spirals, get my leg. It's fucking like crazy. I mean, it was it sucked sort of as the action figure. But the fact is, the heaviness that would have come up if it was me, fucking would have been. I would probably have had a resentment towards this dude. Wouldn't say it to him directly, but I'd be bitching about it for the next few weeks. None of that occurs because I've lost interest in the fucking thing. Yes, there was no effort on my part. I heard the message. Yes, it clicked, and then the false floor fell. Yes, and there you were. I was convinced.
Do you not think but you did, there was a lot of effort. I mean, you did go off.
Before, but that was.
But do you not think that helped you, that when you heard the message?
I think it helps you because it failed. That's the greatest gift of spirituality, is that it will fail. All your attempts to arrive at where you already are going to fail. And it's in the failure that's the greatest success. Yeah. It's going to fail. That's how you come to the conclusion. You're not going to get it. Period. You're not getting it. You're not getting it. It's a fact. Yeah. It's a fact. I believe what Ramana said, being ourselves reality. If you're being ourselves reality, when are you not being ourselves reality? Because your head says so? I found reliance on self is very unreliable. Yeah, through addiction. We have a statement in addiction. Why are you in so much fear today? Because people believe fear is cause of a lot of stuff, which it can be. And it doesn't let us answer with a big story of fear. It says, isn't it because self-reliance is failed? What is the highest level of self-reliance? Taking yourself to be yourself. Can't get more higher than that. This is what fails us. Yes, it's a failed system. It interprets, but it can't experience. It can interpret. It can yell at you. It can comment to you, but it can't communicate to you. Yes. So we're being given an interpretation at the expense of living, basically. And then we live for the interpretation. Yes, yes. And all of that is not you. That's the good news. You haven't done anything. Yeah. You're not. Look at self-centeredness. It's a myopic view, right? Self-centeredness is you see everything as how it pertains to you. That's quite myopic. So no matter how large you see, it gets, it always goes refers back to you. That myopic view cannot see the panoramic view. It can't. It can only have conceptual ideas of what the panoramic view would look like through the myopic view. The panoramic view sees the myopic. Nothing has to go, nothing has to be defeated. It just sees it, yeah? Holds it and knows it's more than that, yeah? The space is much bigger than what appears in it, yeah? And so now you see what you're not, but you're not looking for what you're not. And that little shift in the game board, I feel really is, I mean, this was the last answer for me. And I think a last answer concerning this topic is an incredible answer because it took away the need for any other answers. It's just been done. I haven't looked for what I am for a long time ever, really now. Yeah. I mean, what's looking is what you're looking for, then you would think that you would stop looking for it. But that's not how it works. You just see you're not that which is looking for it. Because that which is looking for it is never going to get it. You're not going to convince that which is looking for is what's looking. You're not going to convince it of that. It's programmed. It's not AI. It's not grown. You just lose interest in the system. And then the interest grows somewhere else, not touched by the system. That's all. And you don't waste a second changing the system. What needed to be changed in the system, I had done through recovery. All of my inability to have a viable relationship with other people and all this shit, that was done by recovery. That's the action figure. I got struck sober. That was a done deal. Yes. Yes. So spirituality had nothing to do with the changing of the action figure. It was just getting new and different habits. Yes. But the belief was of something greater than myself. This is a weird thing. If you've been ever involved in recovery, most people that are in recovery have a sense that something is doing for themselves what they couldn't do for themselves. Something is doing for you what you couldn't do for yourself. Yes? It evokes a lot of gratitude and appreciation, and it takes away a sense of ownership. Yeah. So you feel like something's doing for you what you couldn't do for yourself. Very cool. Yet, it's not applied to the old employer. So let's call it the lower power. The lower power has been doing through us what we would never do by ourselves. Yet, the lower power has you holding all the bags because of being the doer. So the most insane thing I was led to do or driven to do is still owned by the head. And there's no statute of limitations in the head. You can be convicted every day based on something you actually never even did. It can go on for 30, 40, 50 years. Look at resentment. You have a resentment on the highway. It's exit 15, someone cuts you over. If you don't do anything till exit 17, it's probably gone. Now call it your resentment. It's there for 60 fucking years. Yes? Resentment. You get pissed off because something reminds you of something else that seemed to have bothered you. That's what resent means, to refeel. Yes? You go through that. Yeah? It dissipates quickly. Your resentment is like a vendetta. Remember the Clampets and the whatever? The generations of fucking grievance between each other. Because somebody supposedly did something at some time. If you're in recovery, it's obvious that you were driven. And if you're driven, you're not the driver. This is what non-duality does. The subject-object of duality has you as the driven and the driver. So you were driven to do some shitty things, and you're taking the rap as being the driver. And this bondage to this self is like an arm sticking out of the past, holding you in fucking a suffocating mode. Yes, yes. I see people who are 40 years sober. They still believe they did this shit 42 years ago. Yeah, and they're paying, they're tithing. It's like fucking enough guilt and shame. Yes. And yeah, so if there's a sense of the doership, doesn't mean you're a doer. The sense of an individual doesn't mean there's an individual putting out that sense. It's made up. There's a great thing with Ramana. I'm on Ramana today because I dig him actually quite a lot. So he says he was having a question and answer, and you know, if you've gone to meetings, a lot of people are very interested is it predetermined, this whole event, or is there free will? Yeah. And then some people are even slicker. Is there free will and predetermination? That's a pretty good move. And so he's hearing this once again. He says, listen, if there's a sense of individuality, there'll be a sense of free will. He did not say if there's an individual, there's free will. He said if there's a sense of individuality, there'll be a sense of free will. So everyone wanting to know if there's free will is disguising the fact that there's a sense of individuality. He said the importance is to look at that, the sense of individuality, and don't get caught into the mind candy of free will and predetermination. Beautiful, beautiful, yeah. So, yeah. Any other questions? I feel like I'm going to get interrogated with this light. Trauma from my past convictions coming up. I swear, officer, I didn't do it. Wow, it's tricky. Yes, my friend.
With the mindfulness retreat, the ice cream, what is that moment like for you?
Oh, back then? Oh, see, I was. Oh, now? Going over that is just, to me, it's a teaching mode. There's a principle there, yes? If mind is mindful, how are you going to be mindful as an action? Yes? They have it's in the name, big and mind. How more mindful can you make mind? Don't you think it's weird? You're trying to copy something that's already in place. Yeah. Yeah. Mindfulness, you're the most mindfulness of all, everything. And then it's so weird you try to mimic as if you're going to become something that you already are. Mindfulness has the word of big M mind in it. Yeah, yeah. So it was funny because you can do all this, just like this one other retreat I was at that same one. When I was leaving it after 2 weeks, you would talk to somebody and they'd go, how are you going to get home? I said, my car is in the parking lot. Are you going to drive on the freeway? I go, I think so. Take the back roads. And I'm like this. He said, what kind of music do you like? Oh, like heavy metal. Don't listen to heavy metal. And don't go over 50 miles. I'm going, what the fuck? What do I have, a 2,000-year-old Chinese glass? The condition was so manufactured, they were afraid any little thing was going to break it. I don't want that. Yes? What you are has to be an all-terrain vehicle. Yeah, to me, that's why we call it dog shit awareness. Why would I want to have that which I need to protect like it's the last fucking thing? This is what happens. People are trying to control an environment to have a controlled experience that doesn't stand the fucking test of the next day. Yeah. To me, it's just bondage, bondage, and bondage. What is your reaction to retreats failing? More, usually. Yeah? It's more. You start going longer and then you become a monk. And then you're in Thailand and you quit the monkhood in about 4 months. And then you go back and get a nice job and you forget about all this shit. You cannot become what you already are. And what we already are is being ourselves reality. Yeah. And so affirmation doesn't work, it's negation. You negate what you're not, and that's the affirming of what you are. You don't keep trying to affirm a conceptual idea of what you are from what you're not. Yes? You look at what you're not. As it said there, you see the unreal from the real. The real, it's switched. We're trying to see the real from the unreal. And we're just going to switch it and see the unreal from the real. Yeah? Before time, seeing what comes after time. And then you will now see what you used to look for. That's all, simple. And one sample of that can leave a lasting mark, really. It really can. When you realize that where you thought you started, something was before. Yeah. And you realize this can't leave the after. It's of the after, it's in the after. It's not going to arrive at the before. So you see it as what you're not, and instead of having to go somewhere or realize something, you're there. You know, yeah. And hopefully you'll see a diminishing of looking for what you already are. Yeah, has a big effect. Yes.
A quick question. I had the same experience when my father died. I looked in the coffin and I said, well, that's not my dad.
Yeah.
And I just wonder what happens in physical death. It makes you think about that kind of what happens in physical death.
What happens with physical death?
Yeah.
I guess the physical will die. I guess so.
No, so we continue on.
We are. I don't think we don't continue on. There's no continuing in infinity. It just is, right? There's no movement called continuing. It just is.
My question was like, where's my dad go? You know?
Oh, where your dad go? I don't think he went anywhere. You probably hold him somewhere already still. He's probably hold something about him already still, so he hasn't gone anywhere. Yeah, the body ended. I've died a lot, medically.
Well, it reminds me of the St. Francis prayer to die
Is to be reborn, to die to the
That's
self.
not talking about physical death, right?
Well, it could be applied to death, yes, but he's talking about the death of your interest and attention in this idea of you. Yes, so you lose interest in self and then you're reborn. He says it's in forgetting self. What's forgetting self is losing interest in it. Yeah. And to know the fact that self cannot lose interest in self. That's more interest in self. So you know more through the warnings than you do the invitation. The invitation triggers a lot of stuff to come up. And really, the warnings are about the recognition of the stuff that comes up. A lot of things you do does not bring the misunderstandings up, but I humbly believe non-duality brings the misunderstandings up, so that you can see, yeah? And it's like Ramana said, he had talked about the guy, his legs are hurting him and shit, and then he finally looks at his foot and he has a thorn in there. So he looks around to find something to get the thorn out, and it's another thorn. So he gets that second thorn to dig out the first thorn. He doesn't replace the first thorn with the second thorn. He throws both of them away. This is sort of like this message. This message is about what you're not. Yeah? It's not about what you are. You are that already. And then you're going to find out about it a lot more instead of trying to find out about it from what you're not. Yeah? So now we're walking around with the thorn. there's a recognition of that, and then you hear this and you think, all right, I'm gonna replace it. No, it's not meant. You throw both of them away. Because you are what you're looking for. You are what you're trying to understand. You don't need more understanding of what you are. You need more understanding of what you're not. Yeah. And there will be a limit that the understanding is necessary because you'll be convinced you're not that. And that's that. Yeah. It's like here, when you were out there in spirituality, you were trying to realize, yes, a lot of realizations, a lot of experiences, yeah, and then you run into non-duality and it works this way, hopefully. Boom. So that which was having realizations, trying to get more realizations, you see is not you. Yeah, so, and then you see that which was saying it was behind the camera, it's before the camera. And if you look at it a little while, you realize it's always going to be in front of the camera. There's a great master says, Hawaiian Po, whatever can be perceived cannot be that which is perceived. Yeah. So right now, look at what's being perceived. Bodies. Yeah. He's saying the body is not what's perceiving. Go in your head. What does your head say? The head says that which is perceived is what's perceiving. It does. Listen to it. In a second, you'll hear it. And that's the narrative. Its whole narrative got just macheted by that statement by Hawaiian Po. It says, whatever can be perceived, we got to give it us. Yes? Yes? Cannot be that which is perceiving.
Talking about the brain.
Go to the head. I'm talking
Right.
the perceiving. No, the brain isn't perceiving.
Right.
Something comes through it. Yes. It's just like the eye's not seeing, but it facilitates vision. Yes. So whatever can be perceived cannot be that which is perceiving. Go into the head and just listen to it. Its whole basis is that which is perceived is what's perceived. You believe you're conscious, the body. Check it out, watch it. You don't have to watch it for 30 years, like 5 seconds will do. 10 seconds, because it's patterned and repeats constantly. Yeah, you don't need to see it a million times. One time, and you're gonna realize it's gonna appear a million times. You don't have to watch every million times. One time, the mechanicalness of it will convince you. It's like a hole puncher. It's gonna keep punching holes. Yeah. It's not going to make any other mark. Oh, I've got to make sure. No, you'll see it and you realize, hey, it's a hole puncher. Boom, that's it.
Yeah.
Yes? Yeah. And then when your head has a story about the other story, you'll see you're neither of those. Hallelujah. Yes. Yes. The ease and comfort isn't this getting easy and comfortable. It's seeing you're not it. And then a loss of interest allows a condition that you would think was very awkward to be comfortable because you've lost interest in changing the awkward feeling. Yeah. In other words, the condition isn't based on your condition. And you realize the condition will override every one of the conditions you call yours. Yeah. And it's a fact. It doesn't switch where it becomes more important than the other. There's a hierarchy. The inherent condition overrides the manufactured conditions, period. Yeah. Now, you may not take that to be true, but you'll see through that also. And that's where you rest, in the recognition of being ourselves reality. With no idea what that means, you're going to find out. Yeah. What it feels like. Maybe it's going to feel like brilliant emptiness. Who knows? But you're going to, and this is going to get like a trickle down economy. This is going to get some benefits without intention. Yeah, you'll travel lighter because right now there's way too much interest and attention on it. I remember I was a kid and I liked bugs. I was trying to look at this bug with the shell, and I got a magnifying glass. Yeah, and I was looking at the thing. And I didn't know that sun moves, Earth moves. And then suddenly the sun had moved over my shoulder and was going through the magnifying glass, incinerating the fucking poor bug. Yeah, this is like our vision obsessed with self. It's magnifying shit, distorting shit and stuff like that. Yeah. We want to change everything without that changing. If that changes, you may not want to change everything. With the way it is, you want to change everything. If that changes, you may not want to change it. That's what it's like. You just lose interest. Yeah. I'm stoked. Thank you for being here. Yeah, we can keep going. I don't care. But you get it's a little bit of a thing. But it's gonna click a number of times, and your mental logic is gonna be like a German Shepherd going, and it's never gonna get it. It's never gonna get it. It's never gonna get it. It's in see, when you call its abilities, they're very short. Yeah. They will reach and you realize they can't get what they're reaching for. And then the emperor with no clothes is revealed. It's obvious. And I find the best astringent to bring those misunderstandings out is non-duality. I do. I believe the things that are said in non-duality bring out the misunderstandings. And then you see like the faith in intellect or this or that, yes? And then you realize the faith in intellect isn't well spent. You don't do anything, there's just the realization of it. And then the faith starts moving somewhere else that's worthy of the faith. Yeah. And then that which used to enslave you with this preoccupation is enriching you. It's the same end, it's the same interest and attention, truly. And if the interest and attention isn't being directed all the time, that's the presence, really. Presence is unmoving interest and attention. Yeah. In other words, all that interest and attention bringing something to your mind can bring the emptiness of your mind. Yeah. So, yeah, it's working. Yeah. I'm so burnt out. Really. We've had 6 talks already, 7 talks. I'm 70-something years old. I'm getting tired. Had all these people. I'm living mostly with animals now. People are tough. Tough one to ride. Tough one to ride. There's some people I get together with. Every sentence is made a paragraph. Just goes. The little instruction manual becomes a novel. It goes on and on and on. What? I'm just waiting for. Oh no. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? And if you don't get it, that's the part. That's the point. This is not to be understood. When people when I had someone at the door and they came up to me and they go, Paul, I want to ask you something. I said, yeah. I said, all these people keep coming up to me and say, I don't know what the fuck this guy's saying. And I said, that's the point. I'm not talking you. I want to miss you because I know I can't miss what I'm throwing it at. I can't miss everywhere, but the point is to miss you. And I love when people keep saying they're frustrated and they don't understand it, because that's the true understanding. That which cannot get it now will never get it. Yes, yeah. It's showing itself. It's showing its limitations. There's a message there. Yes. Yeah. So I hope none of you understood it. And keep coming back. Who knows?
Thanks a lot.
I only have a couple of shirts left. And I have a couple of books on recovery. Sorry. And we have, I think all I have is women's shirts now. Yes, so it looks terrible, doesn't it? One of the problems is you're gonna lose interest in your own interests. Yes, it's a dilemma. We have a newsletter that once people sign up, they never get any news.
That's the whole point, right?
Yeah, there's nothing new in non-duality. But we try to do the best we can from how it worked. how the dominoes fell, because they didn't feel like the way I thought it would. I didn't think loss of interest would be the key. I didn't at all. And if you are that self, you can't lose interest in it. You can't. Self cannot lose interest in self. But if you see you're not that, it happens, and the migration changes everything. Literally. Yeah.
Okay, we're good.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Paul.
Oh, you're welcome, bro. I'm really happy to meet you. Yes? Yes, yeah, everyone.
I know this is.
Very happy to meet you. Thank you.
And we love
Yes.
this book.
What?
We love this book.
I'll be under arrest. Oh, great. Fantastic. Yeah, that come from, when you're in recovery, it's appropriate to be helpful. Yeah, and then when you're in non-duality, I don't believe it is appropriate to be helpful. Well, you want to let people stew in their own devices so that they see they're not their own devices. The best teacher is failing. But in AA, I would find, I got struck sober, which was so obvious that something did for me what I couldn't do for myself. And that knowing with power, my mother, me, the state I could do. And then all of a sudden I got whacked. And that was it. That's 37 years ago. I've never had a strong feeling or thought about it. So truly the problem doesn't exist. That to me is worthy of the term solution. Yeah, because a lot of solutions, I don't think they have a solution here, But that was invariably a solution to me. And then the non-duality is so beautiful. It seemed to come after, but it's what's before, yeah? And it will illuminate whatever path you're on. It's not a path of illumination, but it illuminated AA for me. And I saw that the thing that has defeated us in addiction is this idea of self, and we're not that. And it's so beautiful. If you don't mind for a second, I want to go on this because it's important to me. A lot of people are choked by that sense of doership because a lot of shit happened when they were out there and they believed they were the one who did it, yeah? And they've already been convicted in their head and they're living out a sentence and they're hoping maybe for probation, but up in the head, there's no statute of limitations. It will keep bringing up these convictions whenever it wants to keep you at bay, so to speak. And we saw the thing that had defeated us as foreign to us, yeah? And when I saw that it was foreign to us, the possibility that I could be free from it became available. And then it told me I had been trying to be free as it for many, many years. Yeah, so I was trying to be free as that which had defeated me. Yeah, and it was super clear. And from that day on, which was 30 years ago, we've been preaching that idea because a lot of people in recovery in their 40 years are still bound by the past behaviors because there's an ownership of them. When it's obvious, a casual observer will see that you were driven, you were not the driver. Because it's amazing, everyone feels so unique, but as they say in Narcotics Anonymous, usually they end up at the same 3 parking spaces, institution, jails, and death. And every one of their trips is a unique seeming trip. It's all made up. They were driven by the same thing that drove you, yes? And it's in seeing that the possibility of real relief is. Yes, I feel so. And it's a difficult one to present because the cherishing of the self, to me, is the original addiction, yeah? The mental state is addicted to this idea of being the doer, the thinker, the feeler, the taster, the toucher, to a point. See, it blew my mind because I did a lot of cocaine and I really loved it, even though it treated me terribly. I loved it. But there was never a point that I thought I was cocaine. Never. There was always a clear demarcation, cocaine and me. But I believe this mental addiction, you are the cocaine. You're not doing it, you are it. You are the drug that you believe you did drugs. You are the drug in this case. And it hides quite well. And Buddhism, they call it the cherishing of self. So there's a cherishing. Like some people, their whole life is about being right about being so wrong. Yes. So they get sober and they can't, it's unbearable, and they go out and get loaded again so they can be right again. Yes, I'm a loser. Just like when we talk, how much defense and protection of what we're not is insane. Yes. So, yeah, I would say, and you can see it with my thought. Just see the difference between mine. Mine changes everything that comes after it. And what comes after it never changes the mind. But the mind changes everything that comes after it. You have to see in time the hierarchy. The more important is the before than the after. Like in AA, we have the thing that, the fear is a big cause, but it's an effect of self-reliance. So if you really want to check what's going on out, you don't get fooled by fear. You look at the self-reliance. So you have abject faith in the thoughts in your head. And abject faith is spiritless servility. Spiritless servility. Abject faith. See, if you humbly, I believe what we really represent is faith, not of faith, a force. And I believe that faith is going to manifest by the vehicle it's put in. Now, I have seen what faith in the thoughts can do. I have seen it. It can make a subjectified hell without no apparent heat. Yes, I've seen it. And I've also seen what it can do when the faith is put into something that's faithful. We call it the higher power. I can see what it can do. But faith is there all the time. Faith, not of faith, faith. And so faith, if the head is directing it, it's going to produce the effects that I'm very familiar with. And now, beautifully, I am now very familiar to the effects of faith when it's directed by what we call the higher power. Yeah. And AA says there's only two ways. Either you're trusting the infinite or finite self. So tell the truth about the trust in finite self, and that opens you up to be driven by something else as the action figure. Yeah. So, yes. Faith, like we said, can move mountains, and it can make a hell. And how can you know what's going on in somebody? And this is a subjective experience. How do you know? I can only compare from a comparison of this own situation. I don't know what's going on in them. I don't. So, yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. If anyone's in recovery and would like a book, you can have it for free. Or you can give me money. Yeah. Would you mind taking a picture?